blogs. Today I'm going to show you how to fly the aircraft straight, level and in balance. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to demonstrate to you what the big picture looks like, how we fly straight, level and in balance. So if you look over there a little bit to the left, you can see a mountain coming up in front of us. Tell me when it's straight in front of you. Now?
It's about straight now.
Straight. Okay, so it will be a little bit off the center for you and not for me. Alright, so we're going to use that as our reference point, flying straight towards it. Now, the way we fly straight towards anything is to keep the wings equidistant from the horizon. So if you look outside, you can see the wings are equidistant from the horizon. If they're not, like they are now, what's happening to our reference point?
It's moving, we're turning.
Yes, we're moving, and it's moving away to your left. So if I get the wings equidistant to the horizon, they no longer continue to move. A reference point no longer moves. And if you look at our altitude is 2,800 feet. Right? If I apply a little bit of back pressure to the control column, the nose attitude changes, higher nose attitude, and look what's happening to our altimeter. Altimeter is going up. We're climbing. Alright? And if we apply forward pressure and have too much ground and less sky, then we're going to be decreasing in altitude. So here we are back at the level altitude. Alright, and you can see the altimeter, the vertical speed indicator, shows that we're neither going up or down. Alright, now we also want to check that we're in balance, and you can see here's the balance ball, and if I put this ball slightly out of balance now to keep the wings level, what's happening to our reference point?
We're shifting to...
Yes, it's going to the right, and the reference point is going to the left. So I put the ball back in the middle, and now we're still continuing towards our reference point. We're flying straight, level at 2,800 feet, and we're in balance. Good, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to fly straight as the first part. Alright, so what I'm going to show you now is, again, follow me through with your hands and feet on the controls. Alright, now the wings are no longer equidistant to the horizon. Can you see that?
Yes.
Alright, what's happening to our reference point? It's moving way to the right. To stop that, I get the wings level, equidistant to the horizon. Our reference point has stopped moving, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the opposite wingtip. So it's moved to the right, so move the left wingtip to touch the horizon, which will give us a roughly 5 degrees angle of bank, which is confirmed in the artificial horizon, and we're moving back towards a reference point, and there it is straight in front of us. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to upset this from our reference point. I give you control, and I want you to do the following. First, get the wings equidistant to the horizon. Determine then which way the reference point has moved. Raise the opposite wingtip to the horizon, and when the reference point comes back in front of you, I want you then to get the wings equidistant to the horizon. Do you understand what you have to do? Right, so I'm upsetting it now. Which way is the reference point moving?
It's moving to the right.
Okay, you have control.
I have control.
So wings level.
Wings level.
Which way is it moved?
It's moving to the left.
So now you need to move it to the right. Excellent. Well done. Good, so I have control again. So we can do this both for the student, blogs off for a moment. We can do the student can practice both ways. You give it to him off the reference point, and he does the sequences wings level, determine which way it's moved, raise the opposite wingtip back. When he gets it back in front of him, then give it back to him. Okay, good. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to now teach blogs how to fly level. Alright, so blogs, I'm now going to show you how to fly level. First of all, I want you to actually confirm with me where you can note where the horizon cuts through the windscreen. Approximately 4 fingers.
Yeah.
Alright? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the attitude and restore it. So I'm raising those attitude.
Yeah.
As I restore it, I want you to use the word now when it comes back to the correct position. Restoring it.
Now.
Well done. And now I'm going to lower the nose with the elevator and then raise the nose. Tell me again when it's back at 4 fingers.
Now.
Good, well done. So what I'm going to do now, and this is an blogs off for a moment, is I'm going to upset the attitude for blogs, right? And then give him control. And the way I do it is I raise the nose attitude first, then lower it, and then you apply a little bit of back. He applies a little bit of back pressure to put it back, and do the reverse. This absolutely ensures to you as the instructor that you know that the student has got the picture, because there's no use teaching him straight and level unless the level part unless he knows where the picture is, and also it doesn't upset the speed and the trim too much by doing this method. Right, blogs, I'm now going to show you how to. I want you to ensure that you can maintain this level attitude. So I'd like you to follow me through, hands and feet on the controls. I'm going to first raise the nose attitude now, then lower it, and when I give it to you, I want you to bring it back to that 4-finger attitude when I tell you you have control. You have control.
I have control.
Well done.
Level.
I have control. I'm now going to upset it in the opposite direction with a nose high attitude. So I first lower the nose attitude and then raise the nose attitude. When I say you have control, restore it to 4 fingers. You have control.
I have control.
Good. Well done. I have control. Alright, so to fly level, we need to have the horizon in the correct position in the windscreen. But part of our work cycle will be to check that our altimeter remains at the same altitude. So if you notice now, we're supposed to be flying at 3,000 feet, and we're 50 feet too high. So to correct that, I'm just going to show you, I'm going to lower the nose slightly to around about 6 fingers. Lookout attitude instrument. As the horizon, the altitude restores to 3,000 feet, I regain my 4-finger attitude. Alright? And similarly, if it was about, I'm just going to get 50 feet or so off. Alright, now we're about 80 feet too low. I'm going to raise it to about 2 fingers. Lookout attitude instruments. Here comes 3,000 feet. Restore it to the lower attitude. Right, so I'm going to give you control in a moment. I'm going to disturb it from the 3,000 feet altitude, and when I give you control, I want you to use that method to get back to 3,000 feet. Remember the work cycle, lookout attitude instruments. You have control. Good, well done, I have control. So it's not always the same time that you're going to have a small amount of altitude change where we can use a change in pitch attitude. Sometimes we'll need to use a little bit of power. Good, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it to say 150 feet too high. So you as the instructor would just maneuver the aircraft, maybe do a lookout turn, and then purposefully set the altitude a little higher than 100 feet displacement. Alright? Okay, so blogs, here we are. We see that now we're 150 feet too high. So my method for this, and in this aircraft, because it's got manifold pressure, I'm going to take 1 inch of manifold pressure off, lower the nose to the 6-finger attitude, use the work cycle of lookout, attitude, instruments, and you can see the altimeter is gradually unwinding and coming back to our 3,000 feet. Remember that work cycle? Look out all the time, check your attitude, 6 fingers, and instruments. We're closing on 3,000 feet. I restore it to the 4-finger attitude, wait a second or two, and then restore the power. Good. So similarly, from the other point of view, we can do exactly the same if we're a little bit too low. So I'm just going to I'm going to take off about 150 feet of altitude. And here we are. There we are. So I'm now going to increase the power by 1 inch to 20 inches in this case, raise it to the 2-finger attitude. Alright. Lookout, attitude, instruments, lookout, attitude, instruments, closing on 3,000 feet. Again, last lookout, lower the nose, wait for a second or two, allow the speed to stabilize a little bit and reset the manifold pressure back 1 inch lower. Good. Alright, so blog's off for a moment, so you let the student practice this. Alright, so you set it up for him, let him practice it. Try and make sure that the aircraft is trimmed before you do this. Good, so let's go back into blogs mode. And ideally, we've got a reference point in front of us. Alright, so now we're going to, he's practiced straight, he's practiced level, now we've got to check in balance. Good, so blogs, I'm going to show you balance. So sometimes the horizon isn't very good. And I could simulate a bad horizon. But let's say there's our reference point, and you can see the ground slightly sloping here, which is another thing. And I might just put the wings or the top of the coaming level the horizon, but now my reference point's moving, isn't it? And so to stop that, I inadvertently squeeze in a little bit of rudder. Now you can see we're slightly banked and we're slightly out of balance, but we're still flying straight towards that reference point, but we're not in balance, and our airspeed has decayed slightly. So to prevent that, right, we put the ball back in the middle, get the wings equidistant to the horizon, and if necessary, return back to our reference point using the method we used for the normal return in straight. So the other thing is that we could show you that that's not very easy to detect. You could easily set yourself up in a situation where you're slightly out of balance. But if we were grossly out of balance like we are now, you can see, yeah, we're still flying straight towards that, but does that look right?
No.
But we're still straight and level, we're still level going towards that reference point, but we're way out of balance, and you can feel that the aircraft is out of balance. So I'm going to restore that and put it back where it should be using the method of step on the ball, and we're back where we should be. But good. Now finally, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the aircraft out of balance, out of level flight, and away from the reference point. And what I want you to do is first get the ball back in the middle with balance, get the wings equidistant to the horizon, make sure that the attitude is correct, and then restore to datums. When I mean restore to datums, to the reference point and to the altitude if necessary. So follow me through and I will show you what I do. So there we are, we're out of balance, nose attitude low. Alright, so I put the ball back in the middle, roll the wings equidistant, pitch up the nose attitude back to 4 fingers, and then if necessary use 5 degrees angle of bank to take us back to our reference point. When we're on it, check my altitude. Altitude is slightly low, so I just raise the nose slightly and restore. Good, so blog's off for a moment. So what you'll do then is, once you've demonstrated that particular thing, give him several scenarios with nose high, nose low, left or right of the reference point, and that way you'll have covered the whole exercise properly.